Hello, YouTubers. What's going on? How are you guys all doing today? Let's see. Today, you got answering another truck camper question here today, and let's go. Let's fire it off and let's get this one going here. So the question is, thanks for all your great videos. I am in the long planning stage, and right now I'm thinking a Northern Light 10'2", and the website suggests a minimum 3/4 ton truck. So I'm pricing trucks, trying to get a handle on how much money I will really need. I am not all that handy and would feel way more comfortable with a new camper and truck for warranty purposes. The thing is, I know nothing about trucks, and online there are like a billion options available for every brand. Yes, there are. Sometimes I think that's by design so that it confuses the consumer so they can't make buying decisions. That's, a marketing strategy, but anyways, that's a whole nother discussion. Billions of options, and I have not a clue why at least half of them are. So I have a lot of questions. I won't ask you all of them. Laughing out loud. So okay, so here's goes the questions. Do you know the wet weight of your Northern Light? Yes, I do. The dry weight of the truck camper, it's listed on the back placard as a 2980, and then if I add the weight of the generator, that's going to be probably a couple 100 pounds. So I am over 3,000 pounds, and when I'm going to be making another video here soon talking about truck camper weight and my experience weighing my truck camper, but I rolled across the scale and I weighed in at like 4,200 pounds. So, which I was shocked. I thought that I would easily be under 4,000 pounds, but I ended up being over 4,000 pounds. So that can be due to due to a lot of things. That could just be to carrying too much excess cargo with you. It's really a lot of these weights that truck campers manufacturers list: dry weights, wet weights. A lot of the times the numbers can be very misleading, so I would always advise that you hedge on the heavier side. So I'm gonna go into talking a little bit more depth about that when I make the video talking about weight and weighing the camper and so forth. But yeah, so that's how much my truck camper weighs. Wet weight, I'm at least 4,000 pounds. And then it says, I think you mentioned that you were overloaded at one point. Do you have a 1 ton truck? Yes, it's a 1 ton 3,500 dually. No, I was not overloaded. My payload capacity on my truck is between 5,000 and 5,500 pounds. I wouldn't go over 5,000 pounds. So on my trip south, I was about 500 pounds under maximum payload capacity, which I would never advise anyone to be at your maximum. I certainly wouldn't want to be at maximum just for safety reasons, braking, stopping. I would suggest everybody be, under at least 500 pounds, and that's what I would do. I wouldn't want to be over 500 pounds, or I want to be within 500 pounds of my payload, maximum payload capacity. Next question: does it really need to be a dually? Well, my response to that is that just depends on you. That depends on your needs. That depends on what you're going to do with it. Where do you plan on taking the truck camper? What type of truck camper that you are going to buy, get. If you say that well, a pop-up truck camper is fine, a lightweight truck camper is fine, a truck camper that weighs about 2,500 pounds. I think a single rear-wheel truck is fine. My response is match up a truck camper to match up a truck to your truck camper, to the weight of your truck camper. That's the smartest thing to do. And I always suggest that you buy as much truck as you can afford. So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about it. If you are going to be a part-timer, a part-time RV, this is something that you're going to do on your weekends, on your vacations. You're not actually full-timing, you're not living in your rig all of the time. A single rear-wheel truck would be fine. If this is going to be this is going to be your home. This is where you're going to live. You plan to do a lot of traveling, and I would highly recommend getting a dually truck. I wouldn't get anything less than a dually truck. Myself, I've never owned. This is my second truck camper that I've owned. I've never owned a truck camper on a single rear wheel truck, so I can't comment on the uh, the experiences between both types of trucks. I can only comment on a dually truck, and I highly recommend a dually truck to anybody that is going to be a full-time RVer, whether it's truck campers, fifth wheels, bumper pull trailers. I highly suggest a dually truck. They're great. The disadvantages of a dually, to me, is going off-road. If you're going narrow places, narrow off-road conditions, you can get into some tight narrow roads where a dually truck may not be navigatable. So yeah, I think that's pretty much my main thoughts on that. It really just depends on you, but in giving what I just said, yeah, make your best decision, your best choice, and buy as much truck as you can afford. Next question: seems like it would increase the overall cost, purchase, and maintenance. Um, you're no, not really. I mean, when it comes to tires, obviously you're gonna expend more money buying more tires, but what do you do? I mean, if you get into this lifestyle and you want to take it serious, you really should be investing in the best equipment that you can afford. And I wouldn't. This is not something that I would nickel and dime. But then again, go back to what I said, talking about matching up a truck to the camper that you want. If you are looking at a lightweight truck campers, then a dually is could potentially be overkill for that much weight. You just don't need it. If you want to get into a camper like I have, the 10 foot 2 Northern Light, I would go dually. I wouldn't go anything. I would not go less than a dually. But you can if you want to. I have met people on the road. The last interview that I just did with Gordon, he had a. Now there's a good example. Gordon had a 3500, I believe it was, single rear wheel 4-wheel drive truck with a gas engine in it. And with the gas engines, you can get a higher payload. So diesel engines will lower your payload a little bit on those trucks. So that's another thing to consider. If you want a gas truck, you may be able to get away with it like Gordon had with his. He had a 10-foot 2 truck camper, about probably the same weight as mine, or very, very similar. And, he was handling it fine. He had some lower stabilos that were installed on the rear suspension. And he said that for the most part it handled fine. But he did tell me that, after having the truck, he did kind of think that maybe he should have gone with a dually. So the bottom line is if you go dually, you're not limited, and you can move up or down from any size truck campers, and you're not going to be limited, and you're going to get better braking, which I think a lot of people overlook. And to me, braking is a huge deal. And with going with a newer truck, there are 4-wheel disc brakes on all of the newer trucks. Newer than like 2002. So stopping power is going to be better. And next question: do you have a bed liner in your truck? Yes, I do. I've got a rubber bed mat, and that's what the manufacturer specified to use with the truck camper. And I would suggest using a rubber bed mat with any truck camper. What is your truck's rear axle ratio? Mine is 373, and most of the trucks, you can find that information out if you pop the hood. And on the top of the hood, if you're looking up, there should be a placard, a sticker up there, and it should list the specifications such as your axle ratio. So that would be one place to look. The other place would be in the owner's manual for the truck. They may or may not list it in there, but you can probably also do a Google search and find out. But that's going to be specific to your truck. So yeah, I've got 373s in this truck, and which I do like. It does very well on the highway as far as gas mileage. Um, I think having a taller gears are always better. But then again, that depends. If you're an off-roader, then you would want lower gear ratio. Okay, the next question is, do I need heavy service front suspension package, or such as like a camper package? Yeah, I would get uh, as many add-ons, manufacturer add-ons that you can get. Absolutely, and more than likely you will also need to make more custom, add more custom parts to your rear suspension to make it better, such as I did. Torque lift. You're probably going to end up having to add some type of a torque lift enhancement components like the stable loads, or there's the Timbren um, rubber pads that go in between the frame and the leaf spring. Those are really popular right now versus the airbags. So you more than likely will need to do some of those performance modifications. And then you say, I'm mostly looking at a Ram 3500 Tradesman crew cab 4x4 8-foot box and F350 XL crew cab 4x4 dual rear wheel 8-foot box, but all the options have me confused. So then again, I would just recommend sitting down getting out a pad and paper and writing down what it is that you want, and then once you have selected a truck camper, then match up a truck to that truck camper. So that's really what I recommend, and that's the direction I recommend. Buy as much truck as you can afford, and don't buy too much truck if you don't need it. There's no point. Like I said, if you want to buy a lightweight camper, and there are some great lightweight campers out there, you don't need a large payload trucks. Unless you want to. I mean, those large payload trucks, they're gonna haul a truck camper around really nice. For example, the last truck camper I owned a Lance Squire Light 185, and it had a wet weight of like 2,300 pounds somewhere in there, and that camper, hauling that camper around, was a breeze. I loved hauling that camper around. I did have the airbags on the truck, but I didn't have to run much air in the truck. I didn't have to make any suspension mods to the springs or anything, and I towed with it, and that was a great camper. Great camper, lightweight. So lightweight is always going to be a good thing on any truck. So that's it. That's all of the questions on this one. I hope it helps. I hope that some of these answers helped you out. And if you guys have some more other answers that you'd like to add to this discussion that I may have missed or I didn't cover, or maybe correct me on, please comment below. That's what the comment section is for. We'll talk to you guys later. See you on the next video, and thanks for your question.